Hi everyone, my name is John Williamson and I'm the Executive Director and Founder of Food Rescue and K-12 Food Rescue. I'm so disappointed that I couldn't be there with you this evening, but I'm learning this new skill of talking into a computer while I'm looking at my face. So if I fumble along a little bit, please forgive me as I kind of give you the details of how this program started. 8 years ago, my wife read to me an article about people that are called freegans who get food out of the trash can, but they're not homeless. And it really drove me crazy. I really couldn't understand why that food would be going someplace other than to children and families in need. So I did some investigating, and there were some restaurants like Panera Bread and City Barbecue in Charleston that we were able to connect with food pantries around the city. Enough so that after 7 years, we connected 200 agencies with 200 restaurants, saving millions of meals around the country and providing those meals to children and families in need. But along the way, I learned some very interesting statistics. Things like 1 in 6 are hungry, and that 40% of our food is wasted from farm to fork. And I asked myself, well, what could I do to kind of make a difference here? And there was a call that I got along the way from a young man in Maryland. His name's Ben Simon. He was 20 years old at the time, and he started to notice some things on our website and notice things at his school was related to the cafeteria that was serving food on the campus of the University of Maryland. Well, if you look forward 4 years, this year Ben Simon was named to the 30 under 30 list on Forbes magazine for social entrepreneurs because he had solved the college cafeteria food waste crisis by making sure that surplus perishable food was getting to caring agencies. And he did so by telling the stories very effectively, taking pictures, taking statistics, blogging, sharing the stories with fellow colleges around the country. And frankly, he changed the world. So fast forward a little bit to maybe 18 months ago, I got a phone call from one of our volunteers in Anderson, Indiana, and she had coordinated all of the schools in South Madison Schools, which is Pendleton Heights, basically, to what we're all more familiar with in terms of the name of the school. And all of the schools that were there were basically walking by a trash can. The students were walking by a trash can, and they had the opportunity to make a better choice with unopened, unpeeled, and unwanted food than throwing it into a landfill, which is basically the trash can. And after a year, they added up all of the meals that they had preserved and the food items, and it was about 45 items per day. And we went and took a great video, hired a company to shoot a video, and somebody put it on Upworthy.com, and it was viewed 17,000 times. And we were also able to speak at the Indiana State Nutrition Association, and we were able to bring on a lot of schools in the state of Indiana. 60 of those schools are in Hamilton County because every school district in Hamilton County does participate now in K-12 food rescue. But here's why you're here this evening, and here's what our new vision is that we realize that after all these years, the face of this 48-year-old man is not the face of food recovery. Believe me, after 8 years, I will tell you that I've asked many, many restaurants and many, many schools to donate their food, and by and large, it falls on deaf ears many times because we're just in this habit in our country of wasting food. It is my generation and the generation above me that has caused this problem. But we received a video from a 12-year-old girl that Val's going to show you a little bit after I'm done talking. And that video absolutely is life-altering, life-changing, world-changing, because there's a 12-year-old girl that I had never met that filmed a public service announcement about K-12 food rescue. And she could have done nothing, but she decided, what can I do with the talent that I have, and how can I tell the story really well? And by many people viewing the story of this young lady, Gloria, she has inspired other schools to get involved and other students to get involved in the food waste issue in our country. Last week, our government actually, for the first time since I've been involved in the food waste issue, put out food waste reduction goals of 50%. So we were going to try to move it from 40% down to 20%. And statistics show that if we could just cut off 15% of the food waste in our country, that we could actually feed 25 million Americans with food that we already have in our food supply chain. One of the common things that you'll hear in the food waste movement is we don't have a food supply problem in America, we have a food distribution problem. And what I'm hoping is that when you see some of the statistics and when you hear Val talk a little bit tonight, that you'll become just as outraged as I was 8 years ago that you'll become as outraged as Ben Simon was when he founded the Food Recovery Network. And you will realize that there is no high school students around the country that are involved in pushing this issue out to other students and doing what Ben Simon did. It's hard to imagine how many millions of meals that young man is responsible for because he simply believed that he could make a difference. And it's our hope that this evening that you walk away from this experience saying, you know what, we the students here at this high school, we can make a difference in the world. We can tell this story better than it's being told. We can find new ways to communicate it, and we can challenge other students to change the world. And our generation is going to be the generation to lead us out of this food waste crisis. So with all that being said, again, I apologize I couldn't be with you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your interest. And Val, go ahead and roll that video.